Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to jump into something interesting.
Well, today we're tackling first impressions, the good, the bad, and well, let's face it, sometimes awkward ones, right?
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. So we're going deep with these texts called The Power of First Impression. And honestly, it's got me thinking about all the times I've totally misjudged someone, or maybe they misjudged me. It's kind of wild how much weight we put on those initial few seconds, you
It
know?
really is. And that's what's so fascinating about this whole topic. This text dives into the science behind it all, like how fast those impressions actually form. You ready for this?
Hit me with it. I'm all ears.
Okay, so get this. Research suggests we're talking milliseconds, like sometimes as little as 100 milliseconds. That's crazy fast.
100 milliseconds? Seriously. That's like less time than it takes me to decide what to have for breakfast.
Right, it's mind-blowing. It shows just how much is happening beneath the surface, all these unconscious processes that we're not even aware of.
So before we even say hello, our brain's already sizing someone up. But why are we so quick to judge? What's the evolutionary reason for that?
Well, think about it. Back in the day, our ancestors had to make split-second decisions about whether a stranger was friend or foe, right? A potential threat or maybe a valuable ally.
Ah, so like a built-in survival mechanism.
Exactly. Those snap judgments could have been the difference between life and death back then. But fast forward to today, and those same instincts might not always be serving us so well.
Right, like that guy with the resting grumpy face at the coffee shop might actually be a total sweetheart, but I might never give him the chance to prove it because I've already written him off.
Precisely. And that's the danger of first impressions. They can be incredibly powerful and often lead to biases that we might not even realize we have.
Okay, so we know these impressions are formed fast. But what exactly is feeding into them? Is it just about looks, or is there more to it?
Well, appearances definitely play a role, right? Our brains are wired to pick up on visual cues. Things like clothing, how someone carries themselves, even their hairstyle can influence our initial perception.
So, like, if someone shows up to a job interview in a wrinkled t-shirt, that's probably not going to score them any points.
Probably not, but it goes deeper than that. This text talks about how we also unconsciously process things like facial expressions, tone of voice, and even subtle body language cues. It's all part of that initial assessment.
Wow, so we're like walking lie detectors, picking up on all these subtle signals without even knowing it?
In a way, yes. We're constantly gathering information, and our brains are trying to piece it all together to form a coherent picture. But here's the thing. All of it is filtered through our own individual experiences, biases, and even our mood at that moment.
Okay, so it's not just about the other person, it's about us too, and what we bring to the table.
Exactly. Context matters a lot. Imagine meeting someone at a loud, crowded party versus a quiet coffee shop. Chances are your impression of that same person might be completely different depending on the setting.
That makes total sense. All right, so first impressions are a mix of objective and subjective factors. But the big question is, how much do those initial judgments really matter? Can we ever shake them off, or are we stuck with that first impression forever?
Well, the research suggests that first impressions are surprisingly sticky. Once we form an opinion, it can be tough to change our minds.
So, like, even if I realize I was wrong about someone, it's hard to undo that initial judgment.
It can be. Our brains tend to look for evidence that confirms our existing beliefs, a phenomenon called confirmation bias. So we might unconsciously filter out information that contradicts our first impression.
Ah, so it's like we're trying to fit new information into our pre-existing mold instead of being open to changing the mold itself. That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is, and this text talks about how those initial impressions can have a real impact on our relationships, career opportunities, and even just our day-to-day interactions.
Okay, so if first impressions are so powerful and often stick with us, is there anything we can do to make sure we're making a good one?
Absolutely, and that's where it gets really interesting. The book delves into some practical strategies for putting your best foot forward. Obviously, paying attention to your appearance is important. Dressing appropriately for the occasion, making sure you're well-groomed. These things show respect and can boost your confidence, too.
Right, it's like the saying, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. But it's got to be more than just clothes, right?
Definitely. One of the most important things you can do is focus on your body language. Standing tall, making eye contact, smiling genuinely, these all project confidence and approachability.
Yeah, I've noticed that people who seem comfortable in their own skin tend to make a really positive impression. They just sort of radiate this positive energy.
Absolutely, and that ties into another key point, being a good listener. When you truly listen to what someone is saying, asking thoughtful questions, and showing genuine interest, it makes them feel valued and respected.
It's amazing how much a simple thing like listening can impact how we perceive someone. It shows that you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, you're actually engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. And that's how you start building real connections, which go way beyond those superficial first impressions.
So we've got the looks, the body language, the listening skills, anything else. I want to make sure I'm fully equipped here.
Well, here's a tip that might surprise you. Prepare beforehand. If you know you're going into a situation where first impressions matter, like a job interview or a networking event, take some time to think about the image you want to project. What qualities do you want to highlight? What message do you want to convey? Having a clear intention can make a big
Oh,
difference.
that's a good point. Instead of just winging it, take a few minutes to get in the right headspace and set yourself up for success.
Precisely. And here's something else to consider. While appearances matter, ultimately, it's authenticity that creates a lasting impression. People can sense when someone is being genuine, and that's what truly makes a connection.
So it's not about trying to be someone you're not. It's about showcasing your best self.
Exactly. Let your personality shine through, be confident in who you are, and people will respond to that.
This has been so insightful. It really makes you think about how much we can control those first impressions. We might not be able to change those split-second judgments that happen, but we can definitely influence how people perceive us in those crucial first moments.
Rita said it better myself. It's about being mindful, putting our best foot forward, and remembering that authenticity always wins in the end.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another deep dive complete. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot more aware of how I present myself to the world now. And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring this fascinating topic. Pay attention to your own first impressions and see what you can learn about yourself and the people around you. Until next time.